Assalamu alaikum students. I hope every one of you is fine. In this video, we are going to discuss conditional expectations. As all of you know that the conditional density function can be determined from the joint density function using this expression. This is the conditional density function of S given Y. You can find it from joint density function of X and Y divided by marginal density of Y. So the conditional expectation can be defined as, for let's suppose continuous random variable, and you want to find expectation of X given Y, and it will be equal to integral from minus infinity to plus infinity of X into conditional density of X given Y, and you are integrating it with respect to X. This is the conditional expectation of X given Y. This is for continuous random variable. Similarly, for discrete random variable, this expectation of X given Y. In discrete random variable, this integral will be replaced by summation. Here we have xi, and here we have conditional density, which is representing basically discrete random variable. So this is for discrete random variables, and this is for continuous random variables. One thing that you may wonder, that this expectation, it is a function of y. If you are calculating expectation of x given y, the result will be a function of y. Similarly, if you are calculating expectation of y given x, the expectation will be the function of x. Let us observe it using an example. For example, you are given with a joint density function which is equal to e raised to power minus x over y into e raised to power minus y divided by y, and it is valid for x greater than 0 and y greater than 0. And our purpose is, we have to find expectation of x given y. So for this purpose, the first thing we have to determine is, we need to determine f of x given y. We have to find it. So in order to find it, we need one more thing, because this conditional density is equal to joint density of x and y divided by marginal density of y. So from this joint density function, we need to find out marginal density of y. So let us find marginal density of y. So it will be equal to integral from 0 to infinity f xy of xy and dx. As all of you know that if you want to find the marginal density of y, you need to integrate the joint density with respect to x. So let us put our joint density function expression in this equation. So it will be equal to 0 to infinity e raised to power minus x over y e raised to power minus y divided by y, and this is dx. So our equation will become, because we are integrating with respect to x, e raised to power minus y over y will be constant. So we can take it out from integral. So this is equal to e raised to power minus y divided by y, integral from 0 to infinity e raised to power minus x over y and dx. So it will be equal to e raised to power minus y over y e raised to power minus x over y from 0 to infinity divided by minus 1 over y, and it will be equal to e raised to power minus y. So our marginal density function of y is equal to e raised to power minus y. Now let us put this marginal density function in this expression. We have already know the joint density function of x and y. So our conditional density will be equal to fx given y, fx given y of x given y is equal to fxy x comma y divided by fy of y, and this is equal to e raised to power minus x over y into e raised to power minus y divided by y, and this fy of y we have just determined it is equal to e raised to power minus y. So it is equal to e raised to power minus x over y into e raised to power minus y divided by e raised to power minus y into y. So this will cancel. So our conditional density will be equal to e raised to power minus x over y over y. So our main task was to determine this expectation of x given y. For this purpose, we have to use this expression where we have determined this f of x given y. So let us put this f x given y or conditional density of x given y into this expression. So we will have expected value of x given y is equal to minus infinity to plus infinity x, and here we have x given y dx. So we have just determined this conditional density function, and the integration limits will change from 0 to infinity because in our problem we have this function valid for 0 to infinity. So here we have x, and this fx given y is equal to e raised to power minus x over y divided by y, and we are integrating it with respect to x. So as we are integrating with respect to x, this 1 over y will be constant. So we can write it like 1 over y integral from 0 to infinity x into e raised to power minus x over y dx. Now let us evaluate this integral without these limits. What we will have is this x into e raised to power minus x over y dx. You can solve this integral using integration by parts, and it will be equal to x into e raised to power minus x over y divided by minus 1 over y minus integral of e raised to power minus x over y over minus 1 over y into derivative of x dx, and it will be equal to minus xy e raised to power minus x over y plus y into e raised to power minus x over y divided by minus 1 over y, and you can simplify it. It will be equal to minus xy e raised to power minus x over y minus y square e raised to power minus x over y. So if we evaluate it from 0 to infinity, for this definite integral which has lower limit 0 and upper limit infinity, it will be equal to y square. So let us put this value in this expression. What you will have is expected value of x given y will be equal to 1 over y into, we have determined it is equal to y square. So this is y square. So this expectation or conditional expectation of x given y is a function of y. So although you are calculating the expectation of x given y, its expression is a function of y. There is a useful property of conditional expectation which can be represented as expectation of x is equal to expectation of x given y. This is very useful and powerful equation and property of conditional expectation, because using this equation you can find the expectation of x without knowing the marginal density of x. Let us see how can we take advantage of this property. Continuing the same problem, let us find the expectation of this expression. I am going to put conditional expectation here and let's see what happens. So here our task is to find expectation of expected value of x given y, which we have just determined. So it's equal to minus infinity to plus infinity expectation of x given y. As I have told you, it is a function of y, so I am using marginal density of y and I am integrating it with respect to y. As I have just evaluated this expectation of x given y or conditional expectation of x given y here, let us put this value here. What we will have is its integration limits are 0 to infinity given here. So here we have y and this is fy of y and this is dy, and this fy of y of marginal density of function, marginal density of y, it is equal to e raised to power minus y. So putting here, what we will have is y into e raised to power minus y dy. This is 0 to infinity. If you solve this integral, it will be equal to 1. So this expectation of expected value of x given y is equal to 1, and actually this 1 is expected value of x. So here you can see you have determined the average value of x, which is equal to 1, without knowing the marginal density of x. This is the usefulness of this expression. Here you can find the expected value of variable x without knowing its marginal density from this conditional expectation. There is another useful property of expectation which we have already discussed in previous lectures, which is if you have a product of two variables and you are finding its expectation, that is expectation of xy, it will be equal to x or average of x and expected value of y. This expression will be true if your two random variables x and y are uncorrelated. We have already seen its proof where we have represented this expected value of x, y with Rx or correlation, and it will be equal to x bar and y bar. If this expression holds, then you can say your two random variables are uncorrelated. we know that statistical independence is sufficient to guarantee that two random variables are uncorrelated. But we can't say anything about independence if we know that two random variables are uncorrelated. So using this property and the property that we have just learned, which is expected value of x is equal to expected value of x given y. Using these two properties, let us solve another problem. Now let us find expectation of sum of random number of random variables. Let us find expectation of sum of random number of random variables. So let's suppose we have random variables x1, x2, x3 and xn, but here this n is also a random variable and all these random variables and n are independent. I am using this symbol to represent independent random variables. So all x and n are independent. Moreover, all these x random variables are independent, are identically distributed. So our problem is we have to find the expectation of sum of random number of random variables xi. So here this n is random variable and here xi are random variables which are independent and identically distributed. So as we know the property expected value of x is equal to expectation of expected value of x given y. So if you have expectation of x given y, you can find the expectation of x. So we can represent this expectation as expectation of expected value of I is equal to 1 to n xi given n. So because you need to find the summation of random number of random variables, I am representing this expectation equals to this thing using this property, because here we are finding the expectation of x. So let's suppose I represent this summation equals to x. Let this x is equal to summation I is equal to 1 to n xi. So this will be equal to x given n but because x and n are independent, so this will be equal to x, because if n and x are independent then this condition will disappear and we have expected value of x and it will be equal to summation I is equal to 1 to n xi, which will be equal to x given n is equal to summation I is equal to 1 to n expected value of xi, because all random variables are independent and identical. I am writing here this I is equal to 1 to n as expected value of x, because they are all independent and identical. They are all identical. I am dropping this subscript I. So solving this summation, it will be equal to n times expected value of x. So this expected value of x given n will be equal to this thing. But here this n is also a random variable which is independent from this x. So let us put this expected value of x given n in this expression, then we will find this expected value of x, which is actually this thing. So expected value of expectation of x given n will be equal to expectation of n times expected value of x. So this expected value of x is a constant. So this is equal to expected value of n times expected value of x. So because this is equal to expected value of x using the property that we have just learned, so it is equal to expected value of x, which is actually equal to expected value of summation I is equal to 1 to n xi. This is n. So our result is expectation of sum of random number of random variables xi is equal to expected value of n times expected value of x. This is another property of expectation. Now let's suppose number of people entering a departmental store on a given day is a random variable with mean 50. And suppose that amount of money spent by these customers are independent random variable having a common mean or average of $8. Moreover, let's suppose amount of money spent by a customer is also independent of the number or total number of customers who enter the store. So what will be the amount of money spent in the store on a given day? So here this is the mean and this is the average money spent by each customer. So if you want to know the expected amount of money spent in a store in a given day, you need to find this thing, and it will be equal to 50 into 8, which is equal to $400. Now let us explore some more properties of expectations. Let's suppose if you have a random variable whose range is from A to B and its probability of sample space is equal to 1, then this random variable will have an expectation, first order expectation of average within the range from A to B. Similarly, let's suppose you find summation of n random variables, and if you want to find the expectation of this random variable y, because expectation is a linear operator, you can interchange this summation and expectation. So it will be equal to expectation of y is equal to summation from 1 to n expected value of xi. Here this n is constant, it is not a random variable. But previously we have just seen an expression where this n was also a random variable. Now let us explore another property. Let's suppose you have two random variables in which x is always greater than or equal to y, then the expectation of x will be equal to or greater than expectation of y. This is one first property, second property, third property, and we have fourth property, which is equal to expected value of x is equal to expectation of x given y. And the fifth property is regarding the correlation. If two random variables are independent, then both random variables x and y, and both random variables will be uncorrelated. And here, if this n is a random variable, then this expected value of y will be equal to expected value of n into expected value of x. This is the sixth property. There are some more properties which related to variance of a random variable. As you know, this variance is equal to expected value of x minus x bar whole square. So conditional variance can be defined as variance of x given y, or you can write it like this, is equal to expectation of x minus expected value of x given y whole square given y. This is the definition of conditional variance. So like property that we have just seen of average here, that is expectation of x given y is equal to expectation of x. Similarly, the variance of x or sigma x square is actually equal to expectation of variance of x given y, which is equal to this, plus variance of expected value of x given y. You can find the variance of x from this expression. There are some properties which are related to covariance. If we have a covariance Cxy, then it is commutative. That means Cxy is equal to Cyx. Similarly, this covariance with random variable x with a random variable x is equal to sigma x square, because you know that this covariance can be defined as x minus x bar y minus y bar. Here you can change their orders, that's why this covariance is commutative. But if you are finding the covariance of x with x, then this will be x minus x bar, that is equal to expected value of x minus x bar whole square, which is the definition of variance of x. Similarly, if you are finding a covariance, you can represent it like this. You can write this covariance of x and x equals to COV x comma x. Here you can write like this, covariance of x comma y. So let's suppose you are finding a covariance of ax, where a is a constant, with y, then it will be equal to a times covariance of x and y. And lastly, if you are finding a covariance of sum of random variables 1 to n xi and random variables 1 to m yj, this is j, then this will be equal to I is equal 1 to n and j is equal to 1 to m c xi xj. So this is the last property of covariance. First, second, third, fourth. So all these properties are very useful. In today's lecture, we have solved two examples in which we have used these properties. One was this example where you determined the expectation of sum of random number of random variables, whereas in other example you determined the expectation of x. So you can practice yourself these properties, try to solve problems. This is the end of today's topic, which was about conditional expectation. If you have any question, you can ask me via my email ID or you can comment below. See you in the next video. Thank you very much.